Good morning, students. Today I am going to teach you the first chapter of science, the living world, adaptations and classification. This chapter is from 7th standard. I am providing you word meanings also. You learn that and read chapter carefully. This is a very important chapter. From this chapter, you can understand the adaptations of plants and animals, how they change their living, how they accept their atmosphere, and you got very information from plants as well as animals also about their adaptations. Now we see what is adaptation and their classifications of plants and animals and how they survive. For understanding with diagrams or photos of plants and animals, you open your textbook. Now let's start. In what different ways is the diversity in living things seen? Now we discuss about this. A great variety of plants is found on the earth. Some plants have colorful flowers. Some plants grow in water, whereas some are to be found in deserts, which have a scarcity of water. Some plants are found only in snowy regions. Some plants cannot be seen without a microscope, whereas some are huge in size. These types of diversities we see in plants. Some plants are very small, some plants are very big, and some plants, for seeing them, we use microscope. Some plants have colorful flowers, but some plants have does not flowers. Some plants fruit in the ground and some plants give fruit on branches. All these are the different of its diversities. Like these plants, we see the diversities in animals also. Like plants, animals too show diversity. Some are unicellular, others multicellular, some are vertebrates, whereas others are invertebrates. This world is full of a variety of animals: aquatic, terrestrial, amphibian, reptilian, aerial, etc. These observations give rise to the question: how did this great diversity come into being? Like plants, in animals also we see diversities. Some animals are unicellular and some multicellulars also. Some animals vertebrates and whereas other animals are invertebrates. We see these different types of diversities. But how did this great diversity come into being? How is this possible? This great diversity is exist. Now we see why this happened. Students, you also read with me from your textbook. Are the plants and animals from Kashmir and Rajasthan of the same type? Can you elaborate on any differences between the two? Are the plants and animals from Kashmir and Rajasthan of the same type? No, it is not possible because the atmosphere of Kashmir and Rajasthan are totally different. Can you elaborate? Can you say something about it? On any differences between the two? Can we say about these differences? Let's see. Coniferous trees like pine and deodar flourish in snowy regions like Kashmir. However, in the deserts of Rajasthan, plants like cactus and acacia babur are to be found. The camel, a desert animal, is not found in Kashmir. What is the reason for these differences? Plants and animals from Kashmir and Rajasthan are both different. In Kashmir, it is snowy region and their plants are coniferous trees. They looks like cone, and in Rajasthan there is only deserts. There is lack of water, so plants like cactus and acacia are to be found. They can grow in less water also. Camel can store more water, but in Kashmir regions these types of animals are not present like camel. Kashmir is snowy region, so animals are found different than the Rajasthan. But how is this possible? How is these differences occurred? We see. What is the reason for these differences? What is the reason behind this? This happens because of the adaptations. What is adaptation? We see. Adaptation means gradual changes occur in the body parts and also in the behavior of organisms which help them to adjust to their surroundings. Such changes are called adaptations. They take place over a long period of time. Whatever animals and plants are present, they adapt by its surroundings. Whatever changes is present in that, it is because of their environment. They adjust with their surroundings. Adaptations in plants. We observe and complete the chart. Include other plants from your own region. Here are some examples of plants and adaptations. Plant habitat, type of root, characteristics of leaves, characteristics of stem. First plant, lotus. Lotus is aquatic plant. It grows in water. So lotus habitat is aquatic. It grows in aquatic area. Type of root. The root is fibrous. Do you know what is the mean of fibrous? Fibrous root means the roots that have no prominent central axis and that branch out in all directions are called fibrous roots. In these fibrous roots, there is not a central axis. The roots grow in different directions. And what is the mean of taproot? In taproot, the all remaining roots are grown by the main root. Means it is the taproot. But in the fibrous roots, there is not main root, but in the taproot, one main root is present, and by that main root, other roots formed. So, in lotus, the roots are fibrous. The leaves are large and round and having waxy layer. Characteristics of stem. The stems are hollow and flexible. In cactus, arid deserts. Arid means wild deserts. Generally, cactus we see in wild deserts. There is lack of water. Type of root is fibrous. Leaves are converted into spinous. Characteristics of stem is store water. Banyan tree, it is terrestrial. The roots are taproots. Leaves characteristics, it have large, leathery, glossy, green and elliptical leaves. The stems of plant most strong and heavy. Now we see adaptation in aquatic plants. Visit various water bodies such as a river, brook, pond, lake in your surroundings. What differences do we observe between terrestrial and aquatic plants? Terrestrial means the plants that grows on land. That plants are called terrestrial plants, and aquatic plants, those plants are grow in water like river, brook, pond, lake. That plants are called aquatic plants. Some of the aquatic plants are firmly rooted. Firmly means they are strongly rooted in the soil at the bottom of the water bodies. Means in river, brook, pond, lake, in water bodies, they rooted, firmly rooted in the soil. Their stems are submerged. Their stems are submerged means sink, but while leaves and flowers float on the surface. The leaves and flowers are float on the surface. However, some plants are entirely afloat. Their roots are not anchored in the soil. Their roots are not anchored means their roots are not strong tightly in the soil. Their roots are not firmly in the soil. The surfaces of leaves and stems of many aquatic plants are covered with a waxy layer. Leaves of some aquatic plants are thin and slender like a ribbon. This shape helps them to withstand fast currents of water. Air spaces in stems and petioles of aquatic plants are useful for floating in water. The surface of leaves and stems of many aquatic plants are covered with a waxy layer. Most aquatic plants, leaves and flowers and stems also are covered with waxy layer. Leaves of some aquatic plants are thin. Why they are thin? Because this shape helps them to withstand fast currents of water. Air spaces in stems and petioles of aquatic plants are useful for floating in water. In aquatic plants, stems and petioles have air spaces, so they can float in water. In your textbook, we can see in the figure 1.2 aquatic plants. We see here how some plants are firmly rooted in soil and some plants are floated in water. And we see in the figure of 1.3 lotus stalk. In this figure, we see the air spaces in stems. By these air spaces, this type of plants can float. By these figures, we can see here how these aquatic plants adapt themselves in water and how they will grow. In aquatic plants, The waxy layer and the air spaces in stems and petioles are plays most important role. Adaptation in desert plants. Before going to this, from aquatic plants in textbook some questions are asked. We see it. You look in your textbook. The first question is, why does water trickle off lotus leaves? Means on lotus leaves, why does not water stop? The answer of this question is, water trickle off lotus leaves because leaves are covered with a waxy layer. Next question is, why don't the leaves of these plants rot in water? Rot means decay. Why don't the leaves of these plants decay in water, rot in water? The answer is, the stem and leaves of aquatic plants have waxy coating on them, so they not rot in water. Do you understand, student? Next question. Why are their roots short and fibrous? The answer is, aquatic plants' roots are short and fibrous. It has short roots because there is sufficient water in its surroundings, while the fibrous roots enable it to float and pick up lightness because these aquatic plants want light also. So because of water, they can get easily sufficient water to grow, and so they float and pick up lightness fastly and easily. So the roots of aquatic plants are short and fibrous. Now we go to next point, adaptation in desert plants. Take two potted plants, one a cactus and the other a leafy plant. Tie plastic bags loosely around the leaves of these plants and keep them in sunlight from early in the morning. In the afternoon, bring those pots into the classroom and observe them. What we have to do? Take two potted plants, one a cactus and the other a leafy plant. We have to take one plant is cactus and other a leafy plant, and you tie to that plastic bags closely around the leaves. Has the same quantity of water collected in both bags. Now we see. Desert plants are either leafless or their leaves are like small needles or have been modified into thorns. As a result, they lose very little water by evaporation. The stem stores water and food and is therefore fleshy. In cactus, the leaves are modified into thorns. As a result, they lose very little water by evaporation. By evaporation, they lose very little water. The stem stores water and food, and in stems, food is stored and water also, and so therefore they are fleshy. The stems are green as they perform photosynthesis in the absence of leaves. In cactus, photosynthesis is performed by stems. Their roots penetrate, means go through deep into the soil, and some roots spread away into the soil in search of water. There is a thick layer of a waxy substance on the stems, on cactus stems, substance of waxy. Because of this also, water evaporates in less quantity. Do you understand this, student? From this both pot, the cactus we see fresh, but in leafy plant we see its leaves are dried up. Now we see adaptation in plants of snowy regions. In what way are sloping branches useful to plants in a snowy region? Plants of snowy regions mainly include conifers like deodar and pine. These trees are conical in shape due to their sloping branches. In the heavy snowfall and extreme cold in these regions, the conical shape prevents the snow from accumulating on the tree, and the thick bark helps the tree to withstand the cold. In snowy region, the branches of plants are conical. For example, of deodar and pine trees, the shapes of tree is conical. Because of this conical shape, the snow will not stop there. Snow will not accumulate on that tree, and because of this shape, they easily prevents from the snow. And the bark of these trees also very thick. Bark means the outer covering layer of tree. The outer covering layer of these trees are thick. The bark is thick, so they can prevent from that cold atmosphere to the tree. So this type of bark and the conical shapes of tree we see in the snowy regions. This is adaptation in plants of snowy regions, so they can survive there. Adaptation in plants of forest regions. Now we see in forest how plants survive. A variety of plants, trees, shrubs, and herbs are found in forest. These plants compete amongst themselves for sunlight. Hence, trees grow tall to get sunlight, and climbers and vines grow to a great height with the support of trees. Spring like tendrils on the stems of some climbers is an example of adaptation. In forest region, plants compete amongst themselves for sunlight. For getting sunlight, they compete to each other, so they grow tall to get sunlight. Climbers also and vines also grow to a great height with the support of trees. and some parasites also like tendrils. They also grow with the help of other trees. This type of adaptation we see in forest region. Adaptation in grassland plants. Diverse types of bushes and grasses are found in the grasslands. Fibrous roots of grasses prevent soil erosion. Forests in the equatorial region are dense, means thickly crowded. Animals like tiger, elephants, and deer can remain hidden in these grasses. However, grasses in cold regions are very short. Animals like the rabbit are found in such grasses. Vast meadows, means grasslands, are found in hilly areas as well as plains. In grasslands, we see different types of bushes and grass. Because of that, grass erosion will not occur. They prevent soil. And in equatorial region, the forest is very dense. They are grow thickly, and animals also we see in that region are tiger, elephants, and deer, and they can remain hide there. But in the cold region, grasses are too short. We found like rabbit animals. Meadows, means grasslands, also we found in the hilly areas as well as plains. Observe and note down the adaptations in the parts of plant like potato, groundnut, yam, water, hyacinth, aloe, acacia, carrot, onion, beet, bitter gourd, grape, wine, etc., and other plants in our surroundings. Adaptations for ingestion of food in plants. Most of the plants are anchored. Anchored means to fix firmly in the ground, fix strongly, deeply in the ground, and are autotrophic. Autotrophic means what? Relating to a living thing that can make its own food. Autotrophic means they are plants like deodar, means what? Cuscuta, are parasitic. They are depend on another plant for food. These types of plants are called autotrophic or parasitic. Most of the plants are entombed in the ground and are autotrophic. However, plants like dodder, means cuscuta, are parasitic. The plant body of dodder consists of yellow wire-like stems. It is yellow wire-like stems. It is leafless and cannot perform photosynthesis because for performing photosynthesis it must contain the chlorophyll, but it is yellow like wire, means there is not present chlorophyll. However, it has hostorial. It has hostorial sucking roots for absorbing nutrients from the host plant. They get their nutrients from the host plant by sucking by their roots. They suck food from the branches of the host plant. It has hosterial sucking roots for absorbing nutrients from the host plant. These roots penetrate up to the conducting vessels. Penetrate means merged up to the conducting vessels means the branches of the hosting plant. From the hosting vessels, the branches, they conduct nutrients of the host plant to absorb water and food. Do you understand this, students? Fungi do not have chlorophyll and cannot perform photosynthesis. They obtain food from starchy foodstuffs like bhakri and bread. They have root-like fibers for absorption of food. In fungi, they also cannot perform photosynthesis. They obtain food from starchy foodstuffs like bhakri and bread. They have root-like fibers for absorption of food. Plants need nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium for growth. Plants that grow in soil which is deficient in nitrogen like Drosera, Sandev, Venus flytrap, pitcher plant, etc. fulfill their needs for nitrogen by consuming insects. Adaptations are seen in these plants which serve to attract insects and hold them captive. In some other plants like Sandev, Venus flytrap, and in pitcher plant, they get their some nutrition from soil, and for the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, they are depend on the insects. They attract towards it and attack and hold them to eat, and they can get the remaining nutrients from the insects. Do you understand, students, how plants make their food? How plants are depend on some other plants? In different regions, plants are grow with different characteristics. All these are the adaptations for plants. With their atmosphere, they adjust and survive. This is the adaptations about plants. In next video, we see how animals also survive in different atmosphere, in different environment. We see adaptation in animals in the next video. If you have any doubt, you comment me. You read this chapter carefully and learn the word meanings also. With the help of word meanings, you can easily understand this chapter. Then also you have any query, you can comment me. If you like this video, you like, share and subscribe to my channel. Okay, bye. Take care.